Hey Internet. Now a couple of weeks ago, during the PS5 reveal trailer compilation thingy-mabob, I mentioned that I was going to make a video about some furry dating sim game things. Actually, if nothing else, this reminds me of a video I meant to make a while back. So let's loop back to that next weekend, because I have a video that's not at all going to be a surprise now. And this is that video. Now, before you think this is some weird niche kind of thing that is just hiding in obscure corners of the internet, it's really not. Dating sims, for example, have been around for quite a while. The first one, well, the first very notable one, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but Tokimeki Memorial, I think is the name, that came out 26 years ago for, I believe, the Amiga computers and various other like PC Engine kind of things. And so really, for as long as the rest of us have been gaming, you've had the option to chase after Japanese schoolgirls and try to woo them. And really, the fact that these are all furry targeted isn't really that odd either. Aside from the fact that you all know how prevalent furries actually are on the internet, the furry fandom has been around pretty much forever. And spoiler alert, I really mean forever. Like 40,000 years forever. But enough with the history lesson. Let's just get on with these games and ruin your Independence Day. Okay, so the first one here is Angels with Scaly Wings. This one takes a unique approach to the plot in that it's not just you chasing after a harem of dragon girls. I mean, it is that, and there's guys too, so yay, equal opportunity. But this changes it up a little by placing you in the middle of a reptilian murder spree and frames you as a visiting scientist from another dimension who is tasked with kind of helping society and also bringing power generators back to your own. So it's more complex than just trying to pork a dragon like you're Shrek's annoying sidekick. Also, before I get too much further into talking about the game itself, I do want to quickly mention the music's actually pretty good. The soundtrack for this game is a massive 94-track thing, which I think was 4 or 5 different artists all collaborated on. I know I could have looked that up and mentioned their names, but that seems like a lot of homework. So just trust me, it's a bunch of people and there's a lot of songs. But no, they actually sound pretty good. And really, in a game where you're going to spend most of your time not distracted by action and instead just reading, having background noise and music is very important. The gameplay here isn't much to talk about because it's the same as basically every visual novel. That is, you read a lot, and occasionally you're presented with dialogue options that you can choose one of, and they will lead you down different paths, and assuming you play your cards right, lead you into one of many romantic encounters with various, in this case, dragons. It's nothing new, it's nothing unique, and honestly, well, I'm not going to explain visual novels to you. Basically, talk the way you think you should to try and date the person, or in this case dragon, that you want, and you won't know if that's actually the right choice until you've played through like 50 times and tried all the various routes. And the characters themselves are, I guess they're passable. I mean, they're interesting enough, but they all fall into tropes, which really you expect from a game like this. There's a lot of like, there's your matter-of-fact scientist who's, you know, kind of snarky and very straight to the point. There's the flighty, in this case literally, airhead character that's, you know, kind of fun and bubbly and obnoxious. There's the grumpy cop. It's all the same characters you've seen in every form of media a million times. But there's a reason those tropes exist. Those are what people like. So, I guess in the game it works. And as for the, okay, see, this is where maintaining the PG content rating that I've been trying to go for is going to be difficult. Let's call them the amorous scenes. This game walks a fine line. It definitely implies things. It implies how you feel or something you want to do in the future or be urged to do. but it doesn't show the explicit content. It doesn't go into graphic detail about passionate hugging, to steal the phrase from r slash. It kind of leaves things implied. So I guess if that's what you're looking to get out of the game, then it will get you close enough to be able to imagine it, but it's not going to outright describe it for you. There's one scene, for example, where you're in a bath with one of the dragons, and it has a picture of the dragon in front of you, and even though you're viewing them from behind, you don't see, this is weird, you don't see any of the bits that you shouldn't see, and that's great for me. But if that's what you're looking for, I don't know, use Google, because it's not in this game. But like I said, they do kind of hint at things. You know, there's one character that refers to herself as a cunning linguist, which, I mean, we all know what that means. And there's just, yeah, they dance around the line without going quite over it. So I guess if you're okay with dating dragons and being in those situations, but not explicitly being in those situations, then this is the game for you. But this is getting weird, and I still have 2 more games to get through, so moving on. Okay, the next one is called Lovers of Aether. And this game is not one I seeked out for the sake of reviewing it because I thought it would be weird. This is a game I actually found because it's a companion to a 2D pixelated platformy fighting game, like Super Smash Bros., but downgraded a couple console generations. And I found that game, that looked interesting, and this, I guess, goes with it. I don't even know which one came first. I just saw that this was the same characters and set in the same world, so sure, I downloaded the thing. So this game starts you off in front of a high school talking to an excited lion. Side note here, he's very excited about the school and how great it looks, blah blah blah, school pride. And he mentions the colors purple and gold are their colors, which is funny because those are my high school colors in real life. So either it's a weird coincidence or this is Sonic.exe all over. But unlike the last game, which was entirely about dragons, this has all of the furries. There's a lion, there's a snake, there's a wolf, there's some nondescript kind of things, there's birds, there's a dolphin. So whatever tickles your fancy, I mean, aside from, you know, humans, this game probably has them. As for the music, this game takes a more retro chiptune kind of approach, which I totally dig, and it fits. Again, I think that's homage to like the chiptune 8-bit style of the other game that they have, the Rivals of Aether. So yeah, it works. Honestly, there were a few times while playing through this enough to be able to review it, I actually stopped reading and just found myself popping along to the music. And no, it is not a euphemism. I meant that literally. As far as the characters go, these are just as tropey as the ones in the last game. It's set in a high school, so, you know, you have your very popular, well-built jock. I really hate that I said well-built there. You have the kind of nerdy introvert, you have the exuberant school class president kind of character. It's all the same characters you've seen in anything set in a high school. It's every John Hughes movie. Also, as another fun little coincidence, I will point out that there was a moment in the dialogue where I scolded myself for being so awkward, which I just thought was kind of funny, considering the channel and everything. Anyway, as for the story in this game, you are a person of nondescript anything, and you're going through your day trying to find a date for homecoming, which is that night. And as you talk to people, you are constantly being interrupted by an angry elephant over an intercom that also looks like an angry elephant. And because it's such a truncated timeline, and you actually lose a lot of hallway content because of this PA system, it's a very, very short game. You'll get through it in, I don't know, half hour to an hour, depending on how fast you read. It's really, I think this was more just to kind of flesh out the characters better that are in the fighting game. I don't know if this was meant to be a standalone encounter, adventure, story type of thing, but it's fun enough, I guess. And eventually, at the end of the thing, you ask whichever person you were going after to go to the high school homecoming, prom, whatever the heck dance thing, and they say yes, and yay, happy ending. Assuming you picked the right prompts. Otherwise, I assume they say no and not happy ending. There's no adult content here, so this is, I guess, literally a dating sim, but it's not one of the ones you have to worry about. So if you have a younger person that you're okay with being a furry and pretending to date various animals, but don't want them to see naughty bits, then this is probably a game that's safe. Also, I would question some things about your parenting methods, but there we are, and last game. Okay, so this one is called Second Chance. First off, while the other two games were more PG and G rated, they kind of, kept things low key and weren't overly explicit or whatever. No, this game is not that. This is very much the opposite of that. There is swearing and there is naked bits, on-screen naked bits, and things going into things in focus. This is the X-rated version of the other games. So there's that. And for that reason, I'm obviously not going to be showing many clips of the game, at least none of those ones, but I will do my best to talk about if it's a good game between the bits of content that I'm not going to show here. Well, the one thing that stuck out to me pretty quickly is that, unlike the other two games, this one does not have a soundtrack at all. There is no music. There's occasionally sound effects, you'll hear cicadas when you're, am I saying that right? I don't even know. You'll hear the bug things that aren't quite crickets, but kind of sound like crickets. And those are in a lot of visual novels. It's weird how popular that's the word, cicadas are. Yeah, they're in everything. But you'll hear them, you'll hear waves crashing on a beach, an occasional thud or bang or whatever, but no music. So, if you're going to play this game, when you're not busy enjoying the scenes, you're going to spend a lot of time reading with no sound. It's kind of a chore, really. It's not great. As for the story, it starts you off with amnesia, because of course it does. That's what you do when you don't know how to write a story. So you wake up in some train station, you don't remember who you are, how you got there, why you got there, etc. Eventually, some female dragon lady comes and finds you and says, hey, you must be so-and-so, which you just play along with instead of telling them that you don't remember because you're a terrible person, and they bring you to a college. Shortly after arriving at this college, you do a thing that I'm not going to include any screenshots from. Yeah, that's right. The first one happens 2 minutes into the game. They throw it at you. But shortly after that, you meet this zebra, I guess, who won't stop winking at And eventually, after them, the story goes on to not really explain your amnesia and introduce you to more characters. There's a little winged angel boy, there's a snow leopard, there's another dragon who's very well endowed in the upper areas. Look, basically, what's happening here is they're throwing enough dialogue at you to get you from naked scene A to naked scene B. This game, unlike the other ones, they weren't worried about having well-written dialogue or compelling plots or decently written characters. They throw everything out the window, and it's basically, here's some nudity, here's some more nudity, we'll kill some time in between because I guess you need to recharge. Ugh. So yeah, while the other two feel more like proper games, well, as much as you consider visual novel games, I know some people don't, but if you like visual novels, the other two were decent enough. This one, it's just really, it's just smut. It's just furry naked bits, lots of them interacting with each other, and that's pretty much all this is. I mean, for the low, low price of free, I guess give it a go if that's your thing, but it's really lacking in a lot of ways. Like I said, there's no music, the writing's meh, the characters are not just tropey, but not even developed or well written. It's just overall, this one, not great. Even if this is your thing, this game should not be your thing. And that's that. I've played the games, I've seen more naked animals than in a Zay Frank video, and I'm not gonna do that anymore. It's time to go play Hyrule Warriors or Dragon Quest or literally anything else.